Hello and welcome to episode 41 of GameSpot After Dark. I'm your host Jake Decker, and joining me this week is Lucy James.
Hello.
Kallie Plaguey.
Hi.
And Jean-Luc Seipke.
Hello.
How's everyone doing?
We were just talking about this while you went to get some water. We're tired.
Okay.
Really tired.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired too. I'm going to do my best to I don't know, inject energy into myself.
Yeah. I think it's fine when I start talking to people. Oh. It's fine when I start talking to people and like doing stuff. I just find that I'm sleeping a lot more and I'm just like I'm getting that mid-afternoon slump at 4:20 in the afternoon.
Yeah. I've been hitting like 9:30 and I'm like, time to go to bed, which is like...
I am tired. I mean, I'm always like this. I'm tired literally all day until like 9 p.m. and then I'm like, all right, it's time to be alive.
Time to finish up my flower guide in Animal Crossing.
Oh, yeah.
That's what Michael does. I see him posting things in like, for like published feedback and like 10 o'clock and I'm like, all right, man, getting shit done.
Michael and I have the same like circadian rhythm in that we're both completely nocturnal people.
Yeah, he always jokes that he doesn't start working until like 4 p.m.
Because I used to be a really nocturnal person, but then I would counterbalance it by sleeping in really late. But unfortunately, these days, the absolute latest I can be asleep by is 9:30. Asleep until is 9:30. So now I'm still awake at night, but also I don't get the lie-in.
Yep.
Which sucks.
When I was in college, I literally would go to bed at like 6 a.m. and then wake up at 4 p.m. It was awful.
Too. It was so bad.
It was so depressing, but that's just like how my body is. So I'm just permanently tired, and it's the life that I accept.
Hey, I read a book all about sleep, and there are people who are just biologically wired that way. You can't really change it, and that's one of the things that they're trying to figure out with schools and kids, is because obviously kids need to wake up early to go to school because parents have to go to work, but that's actually really bad for kids, because especially teenagers, because there are some people who just can't go to sleep at like 9:30, 10, and they want to wake up. They want to go to bed at like, I don't know, 2, 3 a.m. and they want to wake up at like 11 or so. Yeah,
when I was in high school, I probably got, I want to say like 6 hours a school week.
Yeah, and that's sleep. Really bad.
Yeah.
Kids got it easy now. You turned out fine. You just got to roll out of bed and hit go on the Zoom call. Stay in your pajamas. You're good.
Yeah, I totally don't do that at all. I totally don't stay in bed until 9:44.
Feel very seen.
Well, anyway, why don't we talk about what we've been playing this week? Kallie, do you want to kick it off with your Animal Crossing corner?
Sure. I'm just still playing Animal Crossing because I've finally gotten into the swing of like decorating my island a little bit more, because I was so focused on collecting information for guides that like I really neglected the decoration part. So I've been enjoying that. And like Jake said, I did complete the flower guide. Jean-Luc's helping out with some graphics for that as well. And basically what I did was I looked at the data mined information, and I sourced it obviously. But I took that information, and it's all very technical if you've read the like raw data mine guides. And I tried to make it a little bit more streamlined for people who aren't interested in like flowers have genes and stuff. And like, you could totally, for the turnip guide, I actually read literal code. Like I read code, and deciphered it, and then translated that into like English, for the guide. And for flower guides, the guides were actually, it wasn't just raw code. There was a technical explanation. There's binary involved, and like, so I stripped all of that out of GameSpot's guide and tried to make it a little more accessible. I still talk about the genes though in the guide. So shout out to all those data miners. I used, I don't know how to pronounce it, Paleh, Paleh. Did an advanced flower genetics guide, and I linked out to that in ours if you're curious about the actual technical specifics. So that's what I do.
When does Museum Day or Museum Week start? That's soon, isn't it?
The 17th or 18th, I forget.
Oh, that is
the one thing I'm really curious about. So Museum Day is going to be fun. I'm going to have fun with that. I'm so curious about wedding season.
Oh yeah,
for two reasons.
Oh yeah.
One, so I have seen all of the items online that are coming in the wedding update. So I kind of have an idea. But the thing I don't understand is if your island is in the southern hemisphere, is it also wedding season for you? Because it's full on winter by June in like the southern hemisphere. So
you can have a nice winter wedding.
Did they just have a different wedding season, or is it like?
Well, because did they get like cherry blossoms at the same time we did?
No.
Oh, yeah, so maybe it's different?
Would assume it's different, right?
Yeah, but this is the first time it'll have been like a post-release update that may or may not be seasonal. So I'm curious to see how that works. If you are in the southern hemisphere, or you have a southern hemisphere island, a southern hemisphere. That wasn't Australian. I tried my best. No, I didn't. Anyway, if you have one of those and you know if it's going to be wedding season or not, maybe your Nintendo Direct is different or something, and you got a different update from them, I'd be curious to find that out, because I've been having a hard time finding answers.
I was going to say, you can't time skip, can you? Because it's one of those ones that patch in.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Cherry Blossoms wasn't like that. You could, from the time we got it before release, you could time skip into April or October if you were in the southern hemisphere and get cherry blossoms.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, exciting stuff for me. I read code. I
had a much bigger week than I have.
I drew some Punnett squares in my notebook.
I genuinely find that stuff fascinating, though. Like, me and my girlfriend have been like getting into the flower game, I guess, and like we just learned about how if somebody else waters your flowers, like the chances of them growing. So we like tried it one night, and then like had like 3 times the amount of like flowers and hybrids grow. So we're like, oh my god, we have to do this every night now. So like I'm all in on the flowers. So your guide has been excellent.
Thank you. The visitor watering bonus is sick. Basically, you can get, if you have 5 people water your flowers, like not including yourself, if you have 5 friends come and water your flowers, you have an almost 100% chance of that flower producing another flower the next day. Ooh. So you could basically be like, okay, here's my patch of flowers, invite 5 friends over, have them water it, give them a prize or whatever. I don't know how your dynamic with your friends is, but we literally did this thing because Jean-Luc's girlfriend and I play Animal Crossing together sometimes, and we had this group, and we literally just went to each girl's island respectively and watered her flowers. Lucy, you should come to the girls' flower watering night.
Yeah, get me in.
Yeah, so you get like a super good bonus. And then the other thing that people may or may not know about it with flowers, last thing I'll say about flowers, because this is all I've been thinking about for the past like 2 or 3 days, is you can clone a flower. So you can breed 2 flowers, right? You're probably familiar with how that works. But flowers can also produce another flower by themselves if they're watered. And the chance of that happening with the visitor watering bonus goes up as well. And the thing about that is like why that's important. If you're just, casual, you like the color of a certain flower, that's a really efficient way to like duplicate a hybrid. So if you only have like 1 purple rose, you can try to clone it instead of having to get 2 more white roses and breed them. But if you're thinking about the genetics of flowers, like the code that makes a flower whatever color it is, there's multiple combinations that result in the same color. And then those combinations like can result in a 3rd new color. And that's why getting blue roses is super hard. So cloning a flower, if you know it's like the right genes, you can clone it and it'll have the exact same genes. So that makes it way more efficient to breed those really difficult flowers. And I laid that out in the flower guide, like how that works. And I named them different things so you can keep track, hopefully. But Jean-Luc's going to make cool art, so because it's all text right now.
Jeez, I feel like you need a degree in like biology to understand this, or not biology. What is it?
Biology.
It is biology.
Genes and stuff.
It's Mendelian genetics, basic Mendelian genetics. You would have studied probably your freshman year.
What, like the
Punnett squares. So you have like
recessive genes and stuff.
So, like dominant and recessive genes, like when you're talking about pea plants, like Gregor Mendel tested the pea plants, there's like capital R, lowercase r.
It's all coming back to me.
Yeah. So that's in Animal Crossing, except it's coded just in binary. So the guide that I looked at did translate it from the binary code into like Punnett square style letters. And then I made an abstraction of that in my guide, so you don't have to worry about all the letters and stuff and all the science as much. I kind of get into it. I started college in science, and it's coming in handy.
I was gonna say, if I was a 9th grade biology teacher, I would use Animal Crossing as like the way to teach the kids about this. Like that's the way to do it.
Yeah, everyone bring your Switches into class. Then we'll
I mean, like they're not all just playing Switch in class these days.
Their classes are all on Zoom. Phone. You know what they're doing? They're taking photos of themselves and then making that their Zoom background, and then they're hiding so it looks like they're paying attention and they're frozen, and then they play Switch.
Oh my god. We did a board game kind of day. We used Tabletop Sim at the weekend, and we're playing with Daniel Krupa from RKG, and his Zoom background is a loop of him reaching in and looking like he's giving him a cup of tea. And then the actual Krupa, picked up a drink, and I was looking away at something else, and I looked back. I genuinely got the fright of my life because I know that he lives by himself. So I was like, oh, who's that?
There's somebody in your house.
You've been cloned.
Dan Crowd, who used to work at GameSpot, had that tweet that got 500,000 likes of him just walking in on Zoom. And then I feel like after that, everyone just started doing all these Zoom videos of people just walking in on themselves. It's good stuff. But anyway, Jean-Luc, what have you been playing?
I'm playing a lot of things, but I've been playing Rock Band. A few weeks ago, I mentioned how we were playing Guitar Hero because my girlfriend got Guitar Hero because she loves Guitar Hero. And that made me really want to play Rock Band because that's what I ended up really getting into. It was a bit of an ordeal. It
always is with that game.
It always is. So I don't have any of my old Rock Band stuff anymore. And the only one you can play on modern systems is 4. I don't care for the song list in 4.
I was going to say the song list in 4 is not that great.
I was like, that's not what I want. I want Rock Band 1. I want Rock Band 2. That's what I want. So I had my parents ship my Xbox 360 across the country here. And then we bought on eBay. It was $250. And it came with drum kit, guitar, microphone, and then Rock Band 1, 2. And then they threw in a copy of Def Jam Rap Star for good measure, which was great. Appreciated that.
What?
And yeah, we've been playing, and it's been a lot of fun. It's unfortunately also been kind of a technical mess. The kick pedal likes to disconnect, which makes the drums unplayable at times. It's weird because it's sometimes it's fine. I'm not 100% sure what causes it. So sometimes I'll be okay, I'll only slightly press down on it and that'll work. And then eventually it'll just disconnect and I have to unplug it. And if I replug it in, then it works for another minute or so. And then
so you can only play minute-long songs on drums.
Yeah, and we're at the hard songs now. We're at Green Grass and High Tides, which is 9 minutes long. And that's when I was I can't do this. We can't. So we've actually put it on hiatus and we ordered another kick pedal that should hopefully be arriving soon. My worry is that I hope it's not the jack, because if it's the jack in the drum set, then I don't know what to do, because at that point that's just the whole drum set's no good.
I think in the room I'm currently in my parents' house, there is a bunch of Rock Band.
Yeah, I see drums back there.
I'm pretty sure I should just send you this stuff. It's all right here.
I would love that if you guys are using that.
The more important question I have is, what do you do with the drum set when you're not using it?
Well, actually, like we have a corner that we actually have some space we've been putting it in, which is nice.
Okay.
We would have not been able to do this in our older apartment. I'm like, so for multiple reasons, I'm very thankful we were in a new apartment at the beginning of this year. But specifically also because of like, we couldn't do Rock Band at all. No way. But yeah, it's like really, really fun. I forgot how good that game is. Like just playing all those
What'd you name your
songs.
band?
We named him.
Can we say that? Is that allowed?
I'm not gonna bleep it out because that's too much work.
It's been real, guys. All right, I'll see you.
Wow. Is that allowed?
The best part about it is like in the loading screens, they do these like they'll have like real images of like San Francisco or like Paris, and they'll like superimpose your characters like on top of them, but they'll also put like your logo, so it'll just say like Pussy Eaters on like the side of a van or on like a billboard. You just see that in the loading screen. Also, the S's are money signs because
I was gonna say that.
Okay, well then we don't need to bleep it in that case. Then we're good.
Yeah, that's good. That's
if it got through Rock Band's filter, then it can get through our censors.
It actually didn't. They were like, this will not work in online play. Like, we're going to have to give you a different name. And we're like, we don't care. We're not going online with this.
No.
But they let us keep
online?
it. Nah, I'm good.
Did you see, so a few weeks ago, there was a guy who played Through the Fire and Flames on Guitar Hero, but he was playing on expert at 165% speed, right? And he got 100% of all the notes, and it was insane. And now the guitar player from Dragon Force has done it where he's actually playing the song on a real guitar at 165 speed.
So it's a battle.
Unbelievable.
That's crazy.
Like, yeah.
I know these people have had years to practice this, but I still can't believe that. That's
you should watch the
insane.
video because his hand is moving just like impossibly quickly.
That's nuts.
It's unbelievable. It's so cool.
Because I want to say, with originally when the Through the Fire and Flames came out, the original version of that song actually wasn't even played live.
It was the end credits one because so I did this on Good News a couple weeks ago, and actually one of the developers on the 165% run commented and said this song was so hard we couldn't put it as part of the track list in the actual game. That's why it's the end credit song, which is a no fail state. Because at the time, like not even I think only one of the developers could actually finish it. It was that guy.
Well, because I think the original band didn't even play it live on the guitar. Like I think it was like digitally altered to be at that speed. So the idea that the actual band member can now not only play that song but play it at an even crazier speed is like that's insane.
What's the guy's name again?
I need proof that the video is not edited. Like I need somebody in the background like doing normal stuff at normal speed.
Like they're holding like a stopwatch or something.
And they can't look like one of those like TikTok people doing this stuff. Like they have to look doing like a Junko Enoshima or something.
Lucy, what about you? What have you been up to?
I haven't really been doing that much. I've been playing a bunch of we played some Halo Reach, or we tried to.
Oh.
The netcode in the Master Chief Collection is not good, and it's especially not good when two of you are in San Francisco and one of you's in London. So if you weren't hosting, you would get insane lag, and we would have to alternate per level. Unfortunately, so Kallie, our friend in the UK, was hosting The Leave the first time, and Tam and I were kind of going, this doesn't feel right, this feels weird, and Tam's was lagging way more than mine was, and then mine started to lag, but obviously I get motion sick, so we go through a bit of Reach, a couple of hours of Reach, but then we've been playing a bunch of Tabletop Simulator, which is really fun. Played some Greed, dice game. We tried to play Trivial Pursuit. That didn't work out so well because it's very fiddly to do all the cards and all the pieces. and for some reason we couldn't take just one card. You'd accidentally take the deck the whole time. But you know, there was Lord of the Rings Trivial Pursuit in there, so I did want to play that, but no one would play it with me. And we played Scrabble. So that's actually like quite a nice weekend of just like playing board games. That we had like a Zoom hangout with some people too. And in between I'm just playing Persona 5, which is great. And I really, really like the new Madarame boss fight. I thought that was really cool. I'm now at the place like 15 hours in where they've stopped hand-holding and it's all just the new stuff mixed in with the old really well, all the new mechanics. And yeah, not really been done that much.
Cool.
That was bad grammar at the end. Not really been done that much. Not really been doing that much.
Close enough. It's fine. I didn't notice. I mean, I've been playing a couple things. One of which I definitely can't talk about, not until next week. Another one, I guess I can say I've been playing it, but I don't think I'm going to. I'm just gonna, save the suspense.
Oh my god! I know what one of those is, and I don't know what the other one is.
Well, I think I know what the other one is.
Oh wait, I know. Yeah.
I went to a preview. I went to a virtual preview yesterday to play something, and normally I would like to share my thoughts on that, but I can't yet.
I was going to say, this is the equivalent of tweeting an unhappy face and then everyone else going, "Oh, you okay, hon? What's up?"
Exactly.
What's up, babe?
I'm just trying to get some attention here.
I know.
But the other thing I've been playing a lot of is Bloodborne. I've been hoping Matt Padgett is doing his first run through of this game on stream, so I've been trying to play ahead of him so I remember everything that's happening. And I haven't played that game since 2015, so I don't remember a vast majority of it. Like I remember Yharnam, and I remember a bit of the Forbidden Woods. But like beyond that, I don't remember a lot of this game, and it has been a lot of fun to see those areas again. I've been trying out weapons I've never used before because, I beat the game 4 times back in 2015, but I only used the saw cleaver. I don't know why, but that's all I did.
Well, no, Hunter Axe is my...
Well, that's what I started with this time for the first time, and I was enjoying that, but I really wanted to use Ludwig's Holy Blade because I always thought that weapon looked cool, but I never tried it. I guess I did use the Crow Blades. Is that what they're called? Blades of Mercy, and originally, because I thought those were cool, but they weren't very effective, at least how I played.
Wait, so where are you up to?
I just beat the 1 Reborn, and now I'm backtracking. I did Castle Cainhurst, which I beat Martyr Ligarius on my first try, which I remember him giving me some issues when I originally did it. And now I'm about to fight Abridus, which I'm terrified of because of all the bosses in Bloodborne. That one took me forever, and I am scared to fight it. But I did it on New Game like plus because I didn't know it existed.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping it'll be easier this time because I'm just starting fresh. I'm not doing New Game Plus.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, I never played the DLC, so I'm excited to go back.
Okay, I was gonna say because like Ludwig is like, oh my god, I think it's Ludwig, right? Is the horse?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the one.
Yeah.
It must have been like 50 plus attempts to beat him.
I had to summon. I summoned the 2 NPCs for him because my boyfriend and I played through. It's really annoying because we're right at the end of the DLC and we also, finished the rest of the main game bar the final boss fight. I think we've missed the true ending, so yeah, just that one boss fight. Everything else was fine, like relatively fine. We would beat most bosses 3 goes max. Ludwig took hours. And I almost rage quit a few times. There was parts where I was getting snippy. There was a point, because he had Animal Crossing by then, so he just was like, I'm just going to let you do this. And then the one time that I actually did it, he has a recording of me where I'm looking at the screen and I don't think that I've done it. And I look furious, and I just turn around at him and I look furious. And then he gestures to me to look at the screen, and I look back and I can see,
Prey slaughtered.
And I look back and it's just sheer joy. It's like a really shit meme template.
It's so cute.
It's like the least cute picture of me ever because I'm not wearing makeup or anything, but he keeps using it as a reaction image. And I'm like, okay.
He would.
Yeah. But no, I want to. I want to do my own run.
I've been having a lot of fun. I've also been doing Chalice Dungeons, which I like kind of dabbled in when it first came out, but I didn't get super into them. And now I'm actually going through and doing that. Like the design, like how it works is like they're all randomly generated, but the best randomly generated ones, at least I think, are used as like standards that everyone sees when they do like, God, I'm describing this terribly. But basically, there are some that are randomly generated and some that aren't. And the ones that aren't randomly generated are still kind of randomly generated, but everyone gets those same Chalice dungeons across the board. And design-wise, like, they're pretty simple, but some of the bosses you fight, and those are also much harder than a lot of the main story bosses. Like, and a lot of them are repeats. Like, I'm fighting Rom again in one of the Chalice dungeons, and it's so much harder.
Yeah.
There's this fire dog, that's like unique to the Chalice dungeons, that probably the second hardest boss, absolute pain in the ass. Because it's like, imagine like a giant dog that like rushes you and is on fire, but it's like the arena feels like 3 times smaller than it should be for like a boss like that. It is absolutely terrible. It's like
no thanks.
So I've fought that boss once. I imagine I'll fight him again because that kind of seems like the trend in a lot of these. And I didn't think he was too tough on that first try. I'm sure it's going to get harder. But one thing I noticed is that his hitboxes were all messed up. Like he'd swing at me with his like jaw and I would dodge back and I'd be, I don't know, like a foot away from it and I'd still take damage. And that was pretty frustrating because it's just like, oh, come on, I was doing such a good job and I clearly dodged it, but the game has decided, nah, I should get hit by this, which is frustrating. But other than that, yeah.
Are you trying to get the platinum? Are you trying to go for that?
I don't know. I just want to play through it for now. I think I might do another playthrough at some point just with different weapons because, like I said, there's so many weapons that I never used. But, yeah, I don't know. I just want to finish it for now, and we'll see where it goes. It's been enjoying.
I was curious.
Yeah, I've been enjoying watching Matt though because he's been doing incredibly well, like frustratingly well. Like I'll like tell him to do things, like I'll surprise a boss on him. Like he'll be like, "Am I safe up here?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, just keep going." And there's a lamp, and then he'll walk into a boss arena, and I'll be like, "All right, now you're gonna die," and he'll win, and I'll be like, "Come on, this is no fun. You need to get mad sometimes." But yeah, I've been really enjoying that. Anyway, shall we move on to the topics of the week?
Ooh,
sure.
First one up here is a Mafia Trilogy has been announced, and it's going to get a full reveal May 19th.
That teaser trailer looked cool.
Yeah, it looked great.
And the screenshots, because I don't think the Microsoft Store was supposed to put those up, were they?
Guess not.
I don't think so, but I don't know.
Because they also leaked, I assume it's a leak if the full reveal's on May 19th, but it was like, oh yeah, full game's coming in August. But it looked really good. Because I never played Mafia 1 and 2. I did play 3, and I got such a ridiculous glitch in it that I fell off halfway through.
Oh, yeah. I forgot how glitchy that game was.
I couldn't get through 3 just because, I don't know, the story was cool, but I felt like story beats happened so far between like all of this monotony that I had so much trouble getting through it. But the one that steals the show is Mafia 1 because it, at least based on the images, it sounds like they've done like a whole graphical overhaul, which would be really interesting because I didn't play a lot of Mafia 1, but one thing I remember is that like you had to obey traffic laws and stuff in that game, and I remember being very interesting. Jean-Luc, you played some of it, didn't you? You played Mafia 1.
No, I didn't actually. I've wanted to, but I've avoided playing it because I heard how dated it was.
Yeah.
Things like the traffic laws, things like some of the missions being real monotonous. There's like this infamous race car mission where you have to like beat like a Formula 1 race that was apparently so bad because the story behind this is crazy. Like the developers apparently like designed the level around like a top quality like racing wheel peripheral that they tested it on, but they didn't test it on like an actual controller or like mouse and keyboard. So apparently it is completely unplayable, but it's like required to beat the game. And it was so infamous that they apparently like patched it out like that to make it optional.
That's
incredible. Which is incredible. So stuff like that, I think that game is fascinating, but I never played it. I never played 2 either. I want to play 2.
2 is really good.
I want to play 2 because the thing I didn't like about 3 was what you were saying, was like, I really loved the story stuff, and then I fell off because it became like very monotonous, checklisty, like, go here and take over this part of the city and do the same 5 missions, and then you go recruit this guy. And it was like this boring, like, I was like, I just want that story stuff. And apparently that's exactly what Mafia 2 is. Mafia 2 is like an open world, but like it didn't have open world checklists. It just had, you know, like story stuff. And so apparently for 3, they said like, apparently I guess that was a big complaint for 2. So then they tried to correct it for 3, but then times changed and then everyone wanted it to be more like 2, which is unfortunate. But so anyway, I'm really curious to play those games because like I've heard amazing things about 2, and I feel like 1, I'm curious if it holds up, like the story holds up, or how they're going to change that game, if they're going to try and make it more accessible.
Yeah, I definitely recommend playing 2 when that comes around, because at least at the time I thought 2 was fantastic. It is kind of like a classic like mafia gangster story. So if you're not super into that, it may be hard to get into, but it does such a good job of like capturing the time period from what I remember. And there's so many odd little details that are in the game. Like in between missions, you go back to your apartment and you could open up your fridge and drink a beer. You could like grab it. You could call people up on your phone or watch TV and stuff like that. And those would kind of like be in between chapters from what I remember. And like I thought the attention to detail was super impressive for that game, considering it wasn't like a big budget GTA game. And then the other thing I remember too was that it does have an open world, but a lot of the chapters really restrict you and how you can explore that. Like sometimes you can't just explore wherever you want in order to keep that narrative very focused, which I liked. The one thing I remember not liking is that like when you finished the game, you couldn't just roam the city. So it was like, oh, I just finished this game with this incredible setting with all these beautiful interiors and cars and stuff, but I can't actually go and explore, at least from what I remember. Maybe they patch that or change that at some point, but
I think they added
remember
DLC
being kind of frustrated
that lets you do that, if I recall. I remember hearing that being a thing.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know. That's all I have to say on Mafia. I don't know. Is there anything you guys want to add?
I don't know anything about Mafia except for the Mafia 3 booth at E3 that year. It was really cool.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
I remember interviewing the developers from Hangar 13 that year. And someone from 2K, so the beginning of Mafia 3 is a bank robbery that's very, very similar to GTA 5's. And I said that in passing, and someone from 2K was like, do not ask about that. I'm like, okay, sorry, I thought it was just observation. Okay. Yeah. If I remember that. That's my Mafia story.
What I remember is the title screen played all along the Watchtower, and I was like, hell yeah.
That was cool.
Wow, and Lucy and I like that song for a specific reason.
I love that game setting. I would like to go back and finish it, because I didn't finish it, because I kind of got bored of the side stuff, but like I love that game setup is so good. Yeah. And like that game setting, and like it had like that documentary style like kind of framing, and I thought that stuff was so cool and so well done. The acting was like phenomenal.
Yeah. It was really good. But I mean, for me, it was just it was a hot mess of glitches.
Yeah.
Like,
well, hopefully this collection's better.
Fingers crossed. Next thing we have here is Unreal 5 PS5 tech demo. We finally got that PS5 gameplay.
For a game that doesn't exist.
Yeah. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I'm not sure how much you guys saw.
I watched the tech demo. It looks beautiful. Did you see? So obviously they were like, oh, this is on PS5. And Aaron Greenberg was like, or I think Phil Spencer, both of them were like, we're using Unreal 5 2. Unreal 5 2, because they're using it for Hellblade. That's what Hellblade's being made in. And so kind of felt a bit bad for Xbox after last week's what would you call
Sony,
it? Gameplay gate.
Did Sony just like make a deal to like have them emphasize that it was on a PS4 dev kit? Was that what it was? Because in the interview afterwards, like they were saying like, oh yeah, like Unreal 2 or the Unreal 5 engine runs on every platform and it'll look great on anything and blah blah, all that stuff.
I mean, honestly, this is my least favorite part of new consoles launching is like you'd kind of call it pettiness of like who's gonna reveal on whose. And then but the tech demo looks incredible. The business pettiness, but it's like the tech demo looked incredible. I think everyone going nuts over the triangles was really cool.
I think that stuff is legitimately really cool. Like they were kind of talking about it where they were saying how like the statue was like a model that they took straight out of ZBrush and just put into the game without having to like do the usual like work that they have to do to like compress like textures and like to get that model actually like playable in the game. And so then they were like, oh yeah, we can do that. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. Like, how is that not taking the frame rate? And then they were like, and this room has 500 of those. And I was like, how? Like, I legitimately want, I was kind of bummed that, I know it's like because the tech is still years out, so they probably don't want to dive too deep into their like secrets, but I really wished instead of like just a straight up interview with Jeff Keighley, I wanted like a GDC like TED talk, like explain to me how this works. Cause it sounds like magic and it's supposed to like, if that stuff is true, which I imagine it is, I assume they wouldn't lie about it. Like that is going to be not only good for like your games are going to look good, but that is going to streamline like the production for like game artists like tenfold. Yeah. Like that is going to be huge for video games.
I mean, Tim Sweeney was like, load screens are a thing of the past. That's like the huge big.
She still had to crawl through that little cliff.
She had to squeeze through. Yeah. She had to squeeze through.
I think that's the one thing about that tech demo is like the flying at the end was cool, but for the most part, it was like very like expected gameplay. Like you're not showing me like cool new gameplay things you can do with like hardware. It was just more that it looked really pretty.
Yeah. I think the other really cool thing that, I don't know, people didn't really comment until I think like after the fact, when more people realized that they'd done it, was that Epic are now saying that, so for indies, if, or for anyone really, it's like if you use Unreal Engine, when you hit $3,000 in a quarter, then you have to pay them 5% to use the engine, right? Now they've changed that, so you don't have to pay anything to Epic until you've grossed $1 million. And that's not within a certain time frame. It's like, it's until you earn $1 million and then you pay the royalties. And they've backdated that to January 1st from this year. That's massive. It's really cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
I thought it was interesting too how they were talking about how Unreal Engine is being used in movies, and they're creating Unreal 5 in order to like leverage that as well, because they used it in Mandalorian, right? But now they're like, okay, this is a thing that this could become more common. Like filmmakers might actually consider using Unreal Engine for scenes and whatnot. Like maybe we should, I don't know, create a version of this that lets filmmakers also go to town, which I think is pretty neat. It's definitely broad thinking, I guess.
Yeah,
that Mandalorian
stuff. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Oh no, I was gonna say I wonder what it'll mean for Unity though, because like in terms of competitive pricing for engines, right?
Yeah. I imagine Unity will still have its place, its space, but yeah, you're right. The whole like not paying royalties thing is that's pretty huge.
Anyway, next thing we got here is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 getting a remaster. I had to include this one. I'm excited for this.
Can we talk about the way that Tony Hawk leaked his own game via text message?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I am fully obsessed with Tony Hawk's social media presence.
Yes.
And just public presence. I hope people continue to not recognize him because those are my favorite tweets.
What was the one where he was in Cat's Deli in New York and someone was like, oh, you look just like that guy.
Skateboard guy.
That is me.
I liked the one where he was on an airplane and a girl asked him, are you Tony Hawk? And he said yes, and she said, why?
What?
Wasn't there one where he was carrying a skateboard and someone said, who do you think you are, Tony Hawk? And he was like, yes.
So anyway, I really hope that this Tony Hawk resurgence doesn't reduce the number of tweets like that we get. But I am excited, especially for I hope the soundtracks are still.
I think it's like they said a lot of it is going to be the same, but I think some songs aren't going to make it.
I imagine there's got to be some changes to like licensing and stuff, but
I mean, Goldfinger's still on there.
Yeah, it's
they
iconic.
Are.
So
yeah.
I was like waiting for the trailer, like the music to switch to Goldfinger, like partway through, just to like really give you that like, oh fuck yeah at the end. But like, I didn't do it. But
no, they're still in because they did that live concert of Superman.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, they did it live over like Zoom or something.
That's cool.
And everyone was like, "Oh, that's weird," and then it all kind of makes sense.
All right.
Did you see Skate 3 was trending or Skate 4 was trending that day too?
Well, because it was the 10th anniversary of Skate 3 on Monday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people are just being like, all right, well, maybe Tony Hawk's Remaster will be so popular that EA will be like, okay, it's time to make Skate 4.
No.
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
That's so bummed. One day.
Wasn't there...
like...
I was going to say, wasn't there a thing recently where there was like there's a skater who was saying how he like was in an EA call where they wanted him to like do a thing for Skate, but it was going to be like a mobile game, and he like told them like no, like I think he said was like nobody wants a fucking Skate mobile game. Was like what he said. So I was like, wow.
Oh yeah, because didn't he? I think they went off online about like EA execs and following the money and stuff, and and then Tony Hawk comes out. It's like boom, gonna remaster. What was one? I was going to say that story from a while ago about Tony Hawk meeting with an Activision exec, and he didn't realize how successful his games were, and they said they were going to make another one, we'll give you a down payment, and then they just gave him like $5 million or something. It was something incredible like that.
Is this like really early? Like back when they were first out?
I think so. Maybe after the first or second game. I need to look up the story. I remember reading it or hearing it a while ago, and he just had like lunch with a game exec and just went, here you go.
So I don't know if you guys saw, but Jack Black's YouTube channel, Jablinski, got the exclusive. They got the exclusive on Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 Remaster, and like they probably play the game for like, I don't know, 15% of the video, and the rest it's just Jack Black asking Tony Hawk and all these other skaters how to skateboard and if he's doing kick flips right. It's pretty good. Like I was like, all right, I'm not gonna watch 15 minutes of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 Remaster gameplay, and I click in and it's mostly just Jack Black being Jack Black.
That's really good.
It's pretty good.
See, the thing is, how do we get Jack Black to do things with GameSpot?
I know.
I know, right?
I worship him.
On the charity stream.
Yeah, Jablinski Games.
I would do anything to meet Jack Black.
That'd be amazing.
Oh my god. My icon.
Maybe we got to get in touch with Tim Schafer to put us in touch with Jack Black, and then that's it.
Or we get Tony Hawk on.
Like,
hey, we've done that,
6 degrees of separation.
We could do it.
We absolutely can, like...
Oh, yeah.
We can easily get in touch with Tim Schafer.
Mm-hmm.
I think it could be doable.
Well,
let me look into this.
This is a great planning meeting for getting Jack Black.
I'm helping plan the charity stream, so I'm just giving myself extra work.
I just am really interested to hear what he has to say about rock music and skateboarding.
I want to do a cast table read of School of Rock with him.
That would be incredible. Let's do an hour and a half stream of that.
I found the bassist girl on TikTok.
Me too! Yeah, because it was like, we're child actor or something, and then she does the face. And I was like, oh my god. TikTok is great, guys.
Yeah, so... I would love to do a table read where it's just you and me doing the whole movie.
We don't need a script.
and they're just watching you do it? Like they're just...
Yeah.
Like featuring me taking a break to cry about how much I love Stevie Nicks and then going back to the movie. So anyway, Tony Hawk.
Tony Hawk and Jack Black.
You know, speaking really quickly about famous people from our childhood and their tweets... You know, one of my favorite tweets of all time has got to be Shaquille O'Neal tweeting at Knott's Berry Farm, and my butt's too big to fit on the seats, in the seats on the rides. That's me yelling. That tweet
When you said
is
let's
so
talk about
good.
people from my childhood tweeting, I was like, oh, are we going to talk about Bryan Adams now?
No.
First of all, someone replied to his, let's face it, weird, slightly racially tinged tirade about coronavirus with more like crying Adams, am I right? Which was just fantastic. But also, grow the fuck up, Bryan Adams.
Yeah.
Like, people are dying. No one cares about your Royal Albert Hall residency. And I say this because I used to bloody love Bryan Adams. And I mean, like, I still like his music, but it sucks that he's become a shitty person.
You hate to see it.
Hate to see it.
Well, anyway, let's move on to listener questions. If you have any questions, you can email us at afterdarkpodcast@gamespot.com, or you can join our Discord server by DMing one of us or emailing that email, and we will get you right in there, and you can ask questions right from there. And this week, every question we have is from the Discord. Anyway, Kallie, do you want to read the first one?
Sure. This is from Chase MM18 on Discord. First off, love you guys. As far as I'm concerned, you guys in this podcast are the cure to COVID-19.
Aww.
Legally, I have to say that we are not the cure to COVID-19, but we appreciate that. I was curious, as someone who loves modding games, namely Skyrim. I was curious if any of you guys ever got into playing games with mods. If so, what are your fave ones? Thank you so much for giving me something to look forward to each week. You guys are the best friends I've never met. Haha.
Aww.
Thank you.
Thank you for writing in.
So sweet.
I've messed around with mods quite a bit, actually. Mostly with Skyrim, but I've done some with Oblivion, and recently I've been messing around with some Red Dead mods, and I've messed around with some Witcher 3 mods as well. I guess it depends on the game. Like, Skyrim has some great mods because so many people are familiar with that game. The tool is open and easy, relatively easy to use. Some of the landmass mods I think are really good. Mm-hmm. I would definitely do the Bruma mod if you haven't done it yet for Skyrim. It's like a small contained story which takes place south of Skyrim technically, and you go through you have to go through border control, and you go down to Cyrodiil and you complete some quests in Bruma. Unfortunately, the story isn't done yet. That's gonna be looped into the full mod that's coming who knows when, but it's really neat, especially if you played Oblivion back in the day. You'll definitely really enjoy that. I highly recommend checking that out.
You did a whole video on Skyrim mods.
I did. I've done a couple actually. Some quality of life ones I really like. There's one, I think it's called
I was trying to get you to pimp out your work.
Pimp your stuff.
I know. I've got so many things I want to talk about here. I think it's called A New Start, which always makes me think of Arrested Development. The only good joke from season 4, probably one of the few good jokes from season 4. But basically, it lets you start a new game in Skyrim in any way you want. You can say, I want to be a homeowner, or I want to be someone who just arrived on the boat, which is pretty nice. I'm sure a lot of these you may be familiar with, but those are some of my favorites for Skyrim. For Witcher, it's all just quality of life mods, I feel like, or camera mods, because there's no actual photo mode in that game. So I downloaded a camera mod, which lets me, come up with my own framing and get Geralt out of the shot if I want to get a landscape shot or something like that.
Take boudoir photos of Geralt
in the bath.
I got plenty of those. I don't need more bath Geralt photos.
That's like you with your Tifa photos, Lucy.
I am not even kidding. I said as a joke, and I looked at my camera, my capture gallery, and there are so many pictures of Tifa. I love her. I need that game to have photo mode, seriously.
Oh, God, yeah.
They got to add that at some point, right?
They must do. Because 15 had it, didn't it?
I think they added it eventually, though.
Yeah.
Just before we move on, I just want to say Jake does do really cool videos on modding communities and large scale mods. that
I've
you
done
should check out.
One about Skyblivion, which I think is the best video I've ever made. And then I did one on Beyond Skyrim, which covers Bruma, and then I did one on Fallout Fallout Cascadia and Fallout Miami. So yeah, be sure to check those out.
I used to be on...
Now that we're done embarrassing Jake.
I used to be on Skyrim mods, which is the top 5 Skyrim mods of the week that we used to do.
yeah.
But I personally never played Skyrim on PC, so I would watch Seb and Cam put super cool mods on it every week. The only game that I ever really play with mods now is OG Mass Effect, because I got it on Steam, and so if you get the HD texture pack, which is amazing, but also there is a mod specifically just for cutting the wait times, the load times when you're in elevators.
Isn't there a mod for controller support too? Because
oh yeah, there's that too.
One, it doesn't support controllers. You can only do mouse and keyboard. I downloaded that pretty quickly. I was like, I don't think I want to play Mass Effect with a keyboard.
Yeah, because especially the original game it takes some getting used to. I can't even imagine what that'd be like on mouse and keyboard.
It's actually, I think the original's better on mouse and keyboard, but maybe it's just because that game actually runs better on PC. Than the Xbox version.
Yeah, I was playing on backwards compatibility a while ago, and the texture pop-in is quite severe, so I played it on PC.
Yeah.
I wonder how much work they're going to do on the Switch versions of Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, which are coming. Versions. I hope.
I don't think it's going to be
I don't
Switch.
think so either.
I just want them to remaster those freaking games.
I know.
The thing is like, if they do remaster it, I'd want it to be the PS4, Xbox One, PC stuff, because
PS5.
I want that game to look hot as hot as it possibly can. And I would love it on the go, don't get me wrong, but admittedly right now I'm not going anywhere.
We've talked about it before, but if they do it, I hope that they make it all cohesive. You're not switching games when you finish one, you're just going straight to 2, straight to 3. So cool. I imagine that would be very tough to do, especially considering the jump between 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I feel like they'd have to rework and rebalance all of Mass Effect 1. But, I mean, to be fair, that game is so beloved. Of all the games that I feel like could... Actually, I should not talk too much about this because we have a question about remasters and whatnot. But one more thing I do want to say about mods is that I'm very excited to see what people do with Cyberpunk when that comes out in terms of modding. The weird thing is that because there's already nudity built into the game... What are all the people who make nude mods gonna do?
Fembot. That's what I want to be.
That was always the weird...
I want guns for boobs. That's what I want.
The weirdest mods in the Nexus for Skyrim were always clean faces and
kill the kids,
anime girls, and give them Final Fantasy lightning hair.
Hatsune
and I'm always
Miku hair. Yeah.
But also the Black Desert Online levels of just intense detail.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah, there's some wild shit for Skyrim.
I bet
I didn't like those because they just don't
I hated
fit
them.
Skyrim. It's why would I want this? I'm gonna be the only one who looks like this, and all the other characters gonna look like rugged Nord characters. I don't want that.
The best mods were always the ones that were trying to be very lore appropriate. There were people who made weapons that were lore appropriate, and they would actually add them to the loot pool, so you'd find them naturally, as opposed to just you turn in the game and now you're cool, now I got this really powerful sword. So I always loved mods like that enhanced the game. I was really into Fallout New Vegas mods that just made that game more intense. I think me and Michael have talked about that before, about how mods that change the time of day, or add all these weather effect filters and stuff like that.
I don't often play games with mods because I'm so used to reviewing games just as they are, and that I don't want to confuse myself by playing with mods and then forgetting what was modded. Obviously I wouldn't be able to play mods for a game that I got in advance, but I'm just so used to giving myself the pure experience of a game to prep for a review that I have a really hard time installing mods, because I feel like I'm gonna forget what's real and what's not. But I will say one mod that I really, really like is the Better Pigs mod for Stardew Valley, because everything in that game is like nice, like, you know, it's like pleasant, but the pigs are super ugly, and there's a mod that makes them cuter. And I installed that shit ASAP. So when I play on Switch now, I'm like, I can't even own pigs. Like, what is this?
Yeah, it's weird because like a game like Skyrim or Oblivion, like that seems fine. Like I don't mind modding that, but a game like Red Dead Redemption, when I was checking out the mods, it's like, I don't really want any of these mods. Like I feel like the game doesn't need this. And same with Witcher to an extent. That's what I was saying, like the only mods I got were camera stuff, because I didn't want to, like, I don't know, I don't want to like change the way characters look or like change the loot system or anything like that. Although there is a mod for The Witcher 3 that was created by one of the developers at CD Projekt Red that rebalances the game to make it tougher, I think, which is interesting, and one that I've been planning on trying, but I haven't done it.
Yeah, I was gonna say like game. I whenever I want to go back and play a game, there's that part of me that wants to experience, like, I want to like recapture my nostalgia or like compare my nostalgia to when I played it. So the idea of like putting on a mod feels weird sometimes, where like I specifically want to play that original version, and modding it kind of feels odd. Like I prefer like a full conversion mod or something that adds it. Like I think I got really into like Portal mods, because people would just build like brand new like levels for Portal. Yeah. And like that's cool because it's like that original experience is still the same. You're just adding like new levels for me to play. I will say my favorite mod of all time is somebody who modded, they replaced all of the sound files in Half-Life 2 with them making all the noises. So
oh my God.
So I specifically remember the gunboat. So it's like the guy being like, of like the boat sound, and then like the water like, and then like the gun being like, and like all of these are playing at once, and I'm just like, there's a really good video of it.
That's art.
You should go check out. It's amazing.
That is art.
Next question we have here. The PS2, Xbox One, GameCube had some wild games that have never been seen again, like Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg, Sega Soccer Slam, and Psyops that were never seen again. Which game from this era would you like to see remade or given a sequel? This is from Jacob McCourt on Discord.
Did anyone play Blinks, the Time Cat?
that got a sequel, though. There's a second one.
Oh, shit.
No one played it.
Do they still make, is it Klonoa?
Oh.
I believe they do.
That was a game that I, like, had on the PS2.
I think they made, like, a Wii one or something. Yeah.
But I never, like, followed it. And, you can tell how little I followed it because I don't know how to pronounce it. Because I'm just like, Klonoa? I can imagine it written down. But that's maybe the only one from that time. Oh, do you remember Airblade?
No.
Nope.
That was on a PS2 demo disc, and I remember just playing the shit out of it. I think it got released, and I don't think anyone else ever did anything with it, but it was basically like a skateboarding game, but you were on a hovercraft, like a hoverboard.
Oh, I think I played this.
Wait, is that the one with the iToy one?
No.
No,
it was
that's something else.
Super early PS2, and you would just go around and smash through billboards and do tricks and stuff. I'm going to look this up, because I feel... I think it was called Airblade.
Did they remake
like a Dyson Airblade?
Like a Dyson Airblade?
That's how they can bring it back. You get that product placement. And...
Yeah, look. See results about video game, but it's mostly just the Dyson Airblade.
I feel like they remade Simpsons Hit and Run, but I might have imagined that.
Is that the one? No, I think that's the one everyone keeps wanting people to remake. There's one Simpsons
Hit and Run
game.
is my favorite.
I love Hit and Run.
Hit and Run's fantastic.
It must be Hit and Run, because every time they like say something about like Simpsons and video games, everyone's always like, they got to do a remake of like Hit and Run, and then it always turns out to be like a mobile update to like that one mobile game or whatever.
Yeah, so there was Road Rage and there was Hit and Run.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember not liking Road Rage a lot, but Hit and Run I thought was great.
Airblade was made by Criterion.
Oh,
wow.
Really?
Who also made Burnout and Need for Speed.
Speaking of dead franchises, bringing back Burnout.
Yeah.
You know what I played a lot of on the PS2 was at-home DDR with the DDR mat. And then when I got lazy, I would play it with a controller.
How do you do like the doubles with a controller?
Do they work on the D-pad?
Oh my god. Oh yeah, I had iToy was great. Me and my friends spent a lot of time on iToy. But I feel like they did that for PS. Was there an iToy for PS3 and then it just vanished? And then I guess Playroom was sort of it, but not as.
They had a camera. I don't know if they had an iToy specific thing.
Yeah, that was a big deal for me and my friends. God.
I'm ready for that Fusion Frenzy. Well, I guess there was a Fusion Frenzy too.
There was one. There was a second one.
I remember it not being very good and just going back to playing Fusion Frenzy 1.
I feel like this is cheating, or like it doesn't count because it's Star Wars related, but I've always wanted a sequel to Republic Commando. It's like one of my favorite Star Wars games. There's so many good Star Wars games from that era of consoles.
Oh yeah.
My God.
OG Battlefront 1 and 2.
Oh,
KOTOR.
so good.
They added online multiplayer support to OG Battlefront on Steam 2 weeks
Really?
ago. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's part of Star Wars Day, which is cool. I went on and it was only like 10 people playing, but I was like, yeah, like let's go.
I think I saw Ben playing too.
I would do that. That sounds good.
Final question here. Lucy, do you want to take this one?
Yeah. This is from Foggy Bear. My roommates have just gone to take the dog out. Foggy Bear on Discord. What are some video game mechanics / trends that you are personally over and or not interested in? Me personally, I'm tired of games being open world. Prime example, Gears of War 5 had a really strong beginning that was linear like the older games. Then in the middle it went open world and the game fell apart in my opinion.
We didn't do this last week, did we?
No.
I think I put it on, but I think we skipped
I don't think we got to it.
Okay, yeah, good.
I would say, like detective mode. I think I'm a bit over detective mode.
Batman Vision.
Like scanning too?
Yeah.
Or
Like, because if you think about it, it was... I think it's used well in Batman. It makes sense. But, you know, seeing it in Assassin's Creed, to an extent, it's in Last of Us. It's in... You've got Witcher senses.
Days Gone.
Every game has it now, and sometimes I think it's just so that it's a failsafe so a player doesn't get lost. Which I get it's useful, but I think, I don't know, sometimes it can become a crutch for missions that just immediately don't really interest me that much. Mm-hmm. I think like the best ever detective mode is in Arkham Origins, where you are basically reconstructing crime scenes, and they did a really cool job with that.
Right,
like,
yeah, it's like a specific mechanic as opposed to just like hitting the button and you're spending like 90% of the game with skeletons versions of people that you're just saying. Yeah.
I would also be curious to see like, because I feel like detective modes in a lot of games, and I'm thinking a lot of The Witcher 3 right here, is where it just like highlights all the points of interest and you just go and click on them. I think I'd be more interested if they just made that stuff more obvious so you found them on your own.
Right.
Like that's something that I guess I think of LA Noire, right? Because that was you just in an area and you're picking things up and examining that. And I find that more interesting. I get why those detective modes are there though, because a lot of people hate that. They just want to like find this stuff and move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
But then it's just kind of like, if people hate it, then I'd be okay with not seeing those.
Yeah, there were a lot of games, I feel like around that era, that were doing like, I'm not into games that just have skill trees for like no reason. One I remember really bad was Mirror's Edge Catalyst. It felt like it just had a skill tree for the sake of being a skill tree. Like you needed to like unlock the ability to like roll. And you're like,
what?
Why? Like this doesn't even make sense in the context of like the story. Yeah. Like why? Like she's supposed to be a seasoned runner. Like it felt like it was just like adding like skill unlocks for the sake of doing it, and it wasn't really
it's just like an easy way to hide progression or like show progression.
Yeah, and I always found that really obnoxious. Same with like adding stealth into games that don't need stealth, like or like it's just stealth light. Like I always find it weird when like I'd rather a game like really like heavily commit to like being good at stealth or being good at action or being good at both, but like It felt like there were games that were like, we're gonna try and be stealthy, but like it didn't really work. Like the first Evil Within, I remember that game's stealth being kind of shit. I was
literally just about to say, I remember that being particularly bad in Evil Within 2.
Yeah,
because
2's
the
better.
Stealth mechanics, 2's a bit better, but the stealth mechanics don't work.
Yeah,
I remember this annoying the crap out of me. If there was an enemy who was lying in the grass, because there was a ton of them who would lie in the grass and they would pretend to be dead, but if you triggered a specific point, then they would come back to life. But there were ways that you could come up behind them. You couldn't stealth kill them until they triggered. And I remember that just immediately pissing me off, and I was like, I'm not gonna play the rest of this anymore. I had other issues with that game, but I remember that one.
I like that game a lot, actually, as somebody who didn't like the first. But yeah, I agree. I remember even the Evil Within 1. I remember that also had like a skill tree and like a crafting system. That's just like, I don't need this. I don't need all this like in a game. Like just because like I don't know. A lot of systems that don't feel like they need to be in there.
Yeah, I mean, to that Gears of War point, I get it, but it wasn't really open world because it was still like you have to just go here and there's like kind of mini missions ish. I think a big problem, I think Assassin's Creed Origins and Odyssey had the open world issue of it being too big, and there was just like content that was there, it didn't feel meaningful compared to, I mean, Witcher being the other side of that coin, where it's every side quest in Witcher felt interesting and like feeding into something.
There's a toss a coin to your Witcher joke in what you said.
When Witcher and coin is in the same sentence, that's immediately where my brain goes. I mean, the big one for me, Jean-Luc kind of already said, I was going to say skill trees. Like that was one of my problems with Odyssey, I feel like, was there's just like a lot of unnecessary skill trees. I guess the other thing is when games make you walk through certain sections, like you're just in an area and now it's like, all right, now you need to walk to appreciate
Marcus Phoenix putting his ear to his...
That's a load. That's a load screen.
Most of the time it is, yeah.
Actually, when you have to accompany an NPC and you're running and they don't run either at the same speed or fast enough, Final Fantasy VII Remake had that. Don't think I didn't notice. Square Enix.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking Final Fantasy.
That is especially bad on when you're playing on mouse and keyboard, because on controller you can like, okay, I'll just have to like lightly feather the stick, and it kind of sucks. Mouse and keyboard, like you can't do that, so you're just like tap, stop, tap, stop, tap.
Super annoying.
I would say for me, photorealism. I don't think in most cases photorealism, like I think there's like a tweet, I think, about like how we've kind of hit the ceiling for like what increased photorealism adds to the experience of playing a game versus what it costs to do that. And there's like, I really value unique art style, or like distinctive art style over photorealism. And I think I'm just kind of tired of...
I would also... Oh, no. Continue what you're saying. Sorry.
Oh, I just... I've never been super, like, invested in the graphical fidelity of something anyway. So that's probably just me. But...
I was just going to add to that, like, on top of that, I find that sometimes that graphical fidelity comes at the cost of other things that could have made the game better. So, like, an example of that is Halo 5. Like, was pushing for 60 frames a second and, like, really high... like quality graphics, and because of that there is a noticeable dip in like the AI. Like the AI in that game is not as complex, and then like there's some like kind of like GDC talks where they talked about like kind of the trade-offs of that, and basically it's like that game's combat ended up suffering because they were trying to push like a certain presentation fidelity, and because of that the actual like combat of that game ended up suffering because of it.
Yeah, whatever happened to like developers really pushing AI? I feel like we don't get that a whole lot, like really smart enemies, which is kind of a bummer, because I remember that used to be such a, especially on like the Tom Clancy games, that was always such an important like point on the box, like these AI will feel real. And now like I was playing Breakpoint about a month or two ago, and it's just kind of like it's just a shooting gallery, you know? You just show up, find a high place, and just boop, pop them all.
I feel like AI is one of those situations where like with video editing, you notice it more when it's bad than when it's good. Like we've hit a point where like good AI isn't impressive anymore because we expect the AI to have a certain amount of intelligence. And so like it's either like so impressive, I can't believe the AI can do that, or like this AI really sucks and is just standing there or glitching or whatever. But you don't really notice like the in between of that.
Like
I still feel like though AI was better in some of these older games than it is now. Like I feel like a lot of developers have just been making games to make it like, I don't want to say a lot of developers, but I feel like game design is kind of, for a while there, was trending in that position where it's like we want to make you feel like a beast, so we don't want these enemies to be too smart. We don't want them to outsmart you because you need to be the killing machine here.
I also think game design has its trends, right? So like different buzzwords, different like marketing terms even that you would hear as the focus of the development. So like AI used to be that, and now we're in like the ray tracing era, or like the like super nitty gritty technical perfections that you can achieve with modern technology versus like, look at how real it looks 10 years ago. You look at that and you're like, ugh. But we keep evolving with that. I've just never, I mean, I grew up primarily playing either like Nintendo or like Doom. So neither of those is particularly realistic looking. So yeah, it's just something that I haven't really cared. Skyrim is just like, it's from the era, it's from the end of the era where everything looks like mud and like people's mouths don't move correctly, and it is still one of the most popular games of our memory. And you know, you can achieve a lot without having to put so much, because it is a very cost inefficient thing to do to make a game super photorealistic. So. Also, I'm tired. I hate American cutesy aesthetic. I hate the way the Fortnite motherfuckers look. I hate them. I think they're ugly. It's
Maybe
not
it'll look
cute.
better in Unreal 5.
It's not cute. I hate that. Like, I hate that faux Pixar shit.
That like the DreamWorks smirk.
Yes,
like, that
the
shit.
horrible fake DreamWorks. I love 2D animation, and I don't think everything needs to look cutesy or like anime. I just think like find a more distinctive art style. Like Disco Elysium has a very distinctive, beautiful art style that isn't anime or fake DreamWorks.
Right.
So that's another thing I hate. And I'm getting pretty tired of battle royale and hero shooters.
Yeah, I would agree.
So
Overwatch 2, baby.
The connection like dropped when I said that, and it looked like you all quit the call on me.
You went too far, Kallie.
I offended everybody.
Well,
I
anyway,
won't tell
think,
Tam what you said.
I think that's as good a place as any to end this show. Thank you all so much for tuning in each and every week. If you want to join our Discord, make sure to DM us and we'll get you in there as soon as we can. And make sure to stay tuned throughout June because our Play for All event will start and we're going to have a ton of cool stuff.
Jack Black will definitely be there.
What's that?
Nothing.
Oh.
I said Jack Black will definitely be there.
Please don't promise Jack Black.
Anyway, Lucy, where can people find you?
I am on Twitter and Instagram at Lucy James Games.
And Kallie?
I'm on Twitter and also on Instagram, but I barely post there at Inkydojiko, INKYDOJIKKO.
And Jean-Luc?
You can find me at Jean-Luc Seppi on Twitter. Me and Ben put out a new potato mode where we played Mortal Kombat 11, and it was a good time. So go watch that.
And you can find me at Jacob Deck, and I have a couple videos that should be ready for next week. Ooh. Anyway, we'll see y'all next week.
Bye.
Bye.